Four riders ready to go, but one of these is not like the others. Three RS-1250s are heading out with a Can-Am Spider. The Spider won't be going on the whole ride, only tagging along to Skull Valley. I haven't been on a ride with a Trike before. This should be interesting. Questions come up when different types of vehicles mix. Can a Trike keep up with the two-wheelers? Will three wheels be at a disadvantage in the twisties? What does a Trike do to the staggered formation of group riding? Where in the ride order should a Trike be placed? Will a Trike be able to keep pace if the group needs to overtake and pass a car or a truck? How different will a Trike avoid an obstacle in the road? And how will that affect a two-wheel rider following the Trike? There's no one right answer to these questions. As with every ride, the personalities of the riders, their riding skill, and the overall pace the group likes to set all come into play. And there are different kinds of Trikes, basically two types. A Delta Trike with two wheels in back like the Harley Freewheeler, and the reverse or tadpole Trike with two wheels up front like the Can-Am. Other types of tadpoles are out there, but they're rarely seen, like the Polaris Slingshot, or Yamaha Tri-City 300, or Kymco CV3, and the more exotic Vanderhall Venice, an RC Moto FUV fun utility vehicle. There's pluses and minuses for both types. From what I've heard, the breakdown goes like this. Tadpoles have better stability during cornering, improved braking performance, better traction in wet or slippery conditions, and can be designed more aerodynamically. On the downside, tadpoles have more complex steering mechanisms, a wider front footprint making tight spaces and low-speed maneuvers more challenging, and they usually have a higher cost and learning curve to operate. Delta Trikes, on the other hand, have simpler design and maintenance, more familiar handling for two-wheelers, better low-speed maneuverability, lower cost overall, and many have larger storage capacities. On the downside, Deltas suffer from reduced cornering stability, weaker brake performance, and rear heavy weight distribution, which weakens front-end traction. Generally, a Trike is considered safer than a two-wheel motorcycle. Three wheels gives it more stability. Other traffic can see a Trike better due to its larger size and wider frame. There's a reduced risk of falling or tipping over, especially for riders with balance issues or fear of falling. However, all motorcycle-like vehicles carry risks, and safety really depends on the rider's skill, experience, and safe riding practices. It's interesting that three-wheeled ATVs were banned by the federal government in 1988 due to severe safety concerns. These ATVs had a lot of rollovers and injuries, especially among young people. Factors included high instability, the type of center of gravity involved, the flexible tires, and a major component was user error, effectively having children operate adult-sized machines. After a surge in deaths and lawsuits, the three-wheel ATV was banned, and the industry transitioned to four-wheel quad ATVs, which evolved into things like today's side-by-sides. Judging modern road trikes alongside the older three-wheeled ATVs is an unfair comparison. Those older ATVs easily got into trouble when young and inexperienced riders started hot-dogging them off-road, and their unsafe speed and stunts resulted in accidents and injuries. When people think of trikes, many assume trike riders are older male riders who want to continue a motorcycle experience, but for age, health, and balance reasons, they can't handle the more challenging two-wheel bikes anymore. And for sure, there are many older riders out there like that. But the riding space is evolving. Can-Am reported that 72% of its Ryker Trike customers are less than 55 years old, and many of their new riders are women, which accounted for 36% of new Ryker riders. Another group of Trike riders are couples who want to continue to go two-up motorcycling while retired, but want a more stable platform and more storage than typical two-wheelers. So it's definitely inaccurate to say a Trike is just a motorcycle with a training wheel added on. Motorcycle culture has many subgroups, and respect and recognition between the groups is not seamless. Some two-wheel riders look down on trikes as being inferior because it's said the trikes don't give one the true and full motorcycle experience. The tradition of bikers signaling to each other while passing on the road is often modified for trikes, with many two-wheelers refusing to signal a three-wheeler. But trike riders shouldn't feel too bad for being singled out this way, since some two-wheelers won't signal another two-wheeler simply because the other bike is different. For example, there is a segment of Harley and BMW riders who won't signal each other because the other type of bike excludes them from the accepted clan. On the day we rode into Skull Valley, I thought the Can-Am meshed with the group pretty well. We weren't in technical twisties or on the interstate, so the conditions were easygoing, which I think helped. I would like to see the Tadpole perform under a variety of conditions to better judge how it would blend in overall. The Can-Am Spyder F3, with its 1330cc engine, 115 horsepower, 6-speed semi-automatic transmission, Brembo brakes, ABS, traction control, adaptive power steering, and even a backup camera, certainly has some good specs for road riding. While riding along following it, the only thing that came to mind as a downside was how the three-wheel configuration makes it nearly impossible to avoid road hazards. Even cars can swerve one way or another to avoid hitting something, letting the object pass between the wheels. But on a trike, both sides of the road and the middle of the road get covered with contact patch. The center wheel is also always in line to run through all the oil buildup in the middle of the lane. On bad pavement roads, and there are many of them as we all know, the trike would not be able to shift position in the lane to avoid long stretches of potholes or gravel. A two-wheeler can also position itself at stoplights favoring one side of the lane or another to give the rider a quick exit route to avoid being rear-ended. A two-wheeler can also filter through traffic in situations where it would be better to separate from a crowd of cagers and trucks. I have to ask myself, now seeing the trike in action, would I ever transition to riding a trike? As long as my body and health allows it, I'm going to stay on two wheels. If it comes to the point where I can't do that because of balance or body issues, would I then switch to a trike? My instinct says no. I want the two-wheel experience. Of course, I've never ridden a trike. If I did, I might change my mind. But for now, the way I feel, I don't think so. I ride on two wheels for the unique experience it gives. I ride on two wheels or I don't ride at all. I guess I'm one of those who feel anything not rolling on two wheels is not riding. It's something else. I'm not saying that something else isn't valid. That something else is obviously fun for what it is. But I'd rather not ride at all than settle for something else. I've had the experience of two wheels. After that, as far as I'm concerned, nothing compares.